Alright, let's talk about project management for a second. If you're a busy professional, leading teams, managing high-stakes projects or juggling multiple priorities, you've probably had some run-ins with Gantt charts. Maybe you're using them right now to keep track of your timelines, dependencies and milestones. But here's the problem. Gantt charts are outdated. Yeah, I said it. And if you're one of those die-hard Gantt chart fans, you might want to hang tight for a minute. This isn't about trashing tradition for the sake of it. It's about realizing that the way we work today isn't the way we worked 5 years ago. Let me give you an example to kick things off. A Fortune 500 tech company, I'm talking massive, with all the resources in the world, lost $2.3 million on a failed product launch last year. And do you know what their post-mortem revealed? Their rigid, locked-in Gantt chart planning couldn't keep up with the rapid market changes. They couldn't adapt fast enough and it cost them big. That's where we are today. Gantt charts might have worked in the past, but today's fast-paced world demands flexibility, adaptability and speed. And if your project management tool can't keep up with the pace of change, you're setting yourself up for failure. So here's the real question. Are Gantt charts the right tool for you? If you're a busy professional running a business, leading a team, or managing projects that can shift at the drop of a hat, you don't have time for tools that require endless updates. You need something that works in real time, that can pivot when the unexpected happens. Think about this for a second. McKinsey reports that project timelines are now 40% shorter than they were just 5 years ago. Teams are facing 3 times more pivots and changes than they did in 2018. And here's the kicker. 82% of successful projects require frequent plan adjustments. Now here's why Gantt charts are falling apart for busy professionals. 72% of project managers say their Gantt charts become outdated within weeks of creation. Teams are spending an average of 4.5 hours per week just updating their project timelines. That's time you could be using to actually move your project forward, not rearranging lines on a chart. Let's break down the core issues here. The rigid structure of Gantt charts is great if everything goes according to plan, which, let's be real, never happens. One delayed task and suddenly you've got to overhaul your entire timeline. Dependencies, which used to be the strength of Gantt charts, are now a headache. They create more confusion than clarity, especially when dealing with the real-world complexities that come up in fast-moving projects. In a world where opportunities pop up unexpectedly and challenges hit you out of nowhere, rigid planning just doesn't cut it anymore. Peter Drucker nailed it when he said, "The future is not in rigid planning, but in agile adjustments." And that's exactly what today's project management needs. Agility. So what are the best teams doing instead of relying on these old school tools? They're using layered planning, a flexible approach that blends high-level goals with weekly adaptability. Forget trying to map out every little dependency 6 months in advance. That's a waste of time. Here's how successful teams structure their planning. Quarterly plans outline the big picture goals. Weekly plans focus on the immediate tasks at hand. And if you need a bridge between those two, you add monthly check-ins to adjust as the project evolves. It's all about keeping a clear view of your priorities without drowning in unnecessary details that probably won't even be relevant 2 weeks from now. This kind of planning allows you to adapt in real time. When something unexpected happens, you can adjust without scrambling to rework the entire project plan. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about large projects? How do I handle all those moving parts without a detailed Gantt chart? Here's the trick. Focus on big blocks with critical deadlines instead of trying to manage every single dependency. For example, in stakeholder meetings, the big deadlines are usually based on major milestones, client deliverables, product releases, supplier timelines. Instead of micromanaging every task, you manage the milestones. This way, when changes happen, you can adjust without feeling like you're drowning in updates. And if you're still skeptical, let's talk about the data behind weekly planning cycles. According to Harvard Business Review, teams using weekly planning are 3.2 times more likely to deliver projects on time compared to those relying on long-term detailed plans. 92% of successful project pivots happen within a weekly cycle. And here's something you'll love. Teams save on average of 6.3 hours per week that would have been spent updating detailed dependencies. Instead of trying to project every detail months ahead, prioritize weekly reflections. This gives you a manageable cadence for tackling issues as they arise and adjusting your approach without constantly reworking the entire project plan. Why are you spending hours planning months in advance when the reality is that your workload demands your focus right now? So what's the alternative to Gantt charts? Here's how modern adaptive project management works. And it's something we teach through our ICOR methodology at the Paperless Movement. Quarterly level. Set broad goals. Define your major milestones. Allocate resources to hit those milestones. Monthly check-ins. Review your progress. Adjust resource allocation based on what's working. Address any new risks or opportunities. Weekly execution. Set specific task priorities. Identify and remove obstacles. Celebrate the quick wins because progress matters more than perfection. This layered structure keeps you flexible but focused. You've got the big picture in mind, but you're not bogged down by details that will likely change. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, it's this. In project management, it's not about perfection. It's about progress and adaptability. Here's how you can transform your approach today. Layer your planning. Use quarterly goals for the big picture and weekly check-ins to stay on the track. Ditch the dependency trap. Choose tools that are flexible and quick to update, not ones that require hours of manual timeline adjustments. Train your teams. Teach your teams adaptive methodologies like ICOR. Create feedback loops for continuous improvement and ensure everyone's aligned on the goal of progress over perfection. The future of project management isn't in detailed, rigid plans. It's in agile, adaptable frameworks that allow you to keep moving forward no matter what comes your way. Gantt charts, they had their moment. But today's fast-paced, constantly evolving work environment requires something more. So if you're still stuck in the old ways of project management, it's time to make a change. Join the ranks of companies seeing 40% less stress, 35% better outcomes, and 47% fewer missed deadlines by adopting a more flexible, milestone-based approach. So I invite you to hit subscribe if this made you rethink your approach, and let's dive into more ways you can improve your workflow next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you up in the next one.